the meeting to order, and some folks will come in because the only ones that matter are here. Paul, Marshall, Sarah, Lee, and Eddie, and that's all that matters this afternoon. So we'll go ahead and just call the roll and for the minutes to verify that we're all here. Alderman Peterson.
Here.
Yeah, and Alderman Roberson.
Here.
Chair votes here too, or states here, and so we're all here. At this point right now, we have Paul Harbsmeyer, Marshall Boyd, and Sarah Locke that's in here. Welcome. And we'll go ahead and start the meeting.
Chairman, if I could.
The mayor has come. He's come in
Chairman.
Quietly, like stealth mode. Good.
Chairman Skidmore, if I could.
Mayor.
Chairman Skidmore, if I could make a quick announcement. We also have on board with us our brand new Chief of Operations, Jesse Eckenroth. He is in the meeting as well. So I'd like to make
okay, great. All right. Well, welcome to our committee, Jesse, and welcome to Hendersonville. You will note that in this committee we're very informal, but when we have to be formal, we can be, and it can get a little crazy sometimes. But we'll try to make it light and easy today, and we'll move on. But we're certainly glad to have you, Jesse, and we look forward to your excellent work that you're going to help us with and help the mayor with, and we'll move on. But we've already got our call to order going on now. We need the approval of the minutes. We can either just move for approval. Okay, now here's the thing. We have several minutes that are on this agenda. Do you want just to move to approve all of them? Which, if there's no objection, we won't have to go to every single one. We can just move to approve all.
Yeah, my motion would be to approve in toto all of them.
Okay, thank you.
All of them.
All
I
right,
second that.
All right, and there's been a motion and a second. Is everyone ready to vote, or is there any questions on any of the 3 minutes that we're approving? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes in toto signify by saying aye when I call the roll. Alderman Peterson.
Aye.
Alderman Roberson.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well. They pass unanimously, Marshall. So just put them in our packets and let that be done with it. And then I'll come in and sign them when next week or this week sometime, just whenever. All right, next on there, we have the new business. Let's go ahead and start with the street lights for Glen Oaks subdivision. Marshall, would you like to discuss that? Or Sarah?
Yes.
Okay.
I may defer to Sarah, but I can go ahead and get it started. We had a request come through for a street light in the Glen Oaks subdivision, and you'll see in your packet there was a map
Right.
provided, and a little bit of an explanation for the request. And I believe this went to traffic and parking. They reviewed it, and the review is explained there, and I can go ahead and read that. But essentially, the street lights exist. The intersections per the street lighting policy. That there are 2 above ground electric poles through Dogwood Place, which could have a Cobra head streetlight added. This would be a light in excess of the city's policy. Residents have an option to add privately paid streetlights to existing poles if she were to contact residents at either of the existing pole locations. And the request was not approved through the traffic and parking at their November meeting, since the existing lighting complies with the policy.
Okay, so this was not our policy normally, is that right? Not our normal policy.
Correct. Our just to kind of remind you, we have obviously a policy that states that street lights are required at intersections, cul-de-sacs, and of course it has those lights in the subdivision.
Right.
This light would be extra or in excess of that. Okay.
Sarah, do you have anything to say on that at all, or do you agree?
No, that was exactly
okay. And
what the
Paul,
findings were.
I can-
This is before Jesse's time, so I won't put him on the spot.
No, I concur with their findings as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any discussion? I'll open the discussion for once. I don't know that I've ever approved something that's against the policy of the city of Hendersonville, and especially in Public Works. Yeah, I'm familiar with this. Oh, and Mayor, do you have anything to say on this, or you just?
No, I appreciate that. Sarah's been very good about communicating this, and Marshall and I've talked a little bit about it. So thank you.
Thank you. I got to tell you, I'm more likely to oppose this, but I'll wait for further discussion from Lee or Eddie or if anybody that, you don't have to say anything about it. If you've made up your mind, that's fine. Either way. But it is against our policy.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll jump in if I may.
Sure.
I was trying to, I don't have a copy of the city's policy on streetlights. I looked in the planning manual, and it's only thing it mentions is on personal property.
The reason you couldn't find it, it's an administrative policy. So more or less, it's an internal policy that we go by from several decades ago. But I'd be happy to share that. That's not
so. And what did you say, Director Boyd? It said intersections and
cul-de-sacs. Like for example, like when we have new subdivisions that come online, we require them to put in underground power, obviously with decorative poles at street at intersections, cul-de-sacs, and not the older sections of town have overhead power, and there's simply just the Cobra head, lights attached to the poles at the same locations.
Okay, I understand. Is this request located at an intersection or cul-de-sac?
No.
Okay.
It's a fairly short stretch of roadway as well. I believe our lighting policy does have an allowance for dangerous locations like severe curves and things like that as well. But there aren't any of those features along this roadway where the request was made, which is why traffic and parking chose not to approve it.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion on this, and then we can discuss it any further if need be. I'm going to make a motion, and normally if the chairman does not, but with Eddie only having less than a year on there, this is probably one of the first denials that we have, and so we'll be able to show him the process. If there's no objection, I'm going to make a motion I'm making a motion tonight. And I'm going to make a motion to deny this.
Second.
And there's been a proper second. Now we can talk about it. Alderman Roberson, do you want to talk about it or anything? I know.
No, I sure understand the importance of maintaining policies. I support maintaining those policies. But since this is a constituent in Ward 6 that had contacted me,
Sure.
I will abstain from the vote tonight.
Okay.
Just in recognition of her request.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Hearing none. Is everybody ready to vote? All right.
Yes.
The motion is to deny because it is against the reasoning on this is a policy issue for us, and it is not in our policy to approve lights of this magnitude in this manner. That's it, period. It's just not in our policy to do it. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. And well, all in favor, of denial. Yes, that's correct. Say aye. And when I call the roll, Alderman Roberson is abstaining. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alderman Roberson has abstained. Skidmore votes no, or the chair votes no, and Alderman Peterson.
No.
Okay. It does, we've declined it on a majority vote. Marshall.
Okay.
So that has failed. Let's go on to Durham Farms Street
Mr. Chairman.
Acceptance, sections 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 15. Marshall, what's up?
Yes, if you remember, we brought this before you a couple of meetings ago. They've completed all the work in those sections, and we're at the point now to bring it forward to go through the legislative process and get it approved. And that's what this presents. Those areas are ready to move forward with. So if approved tonight, it'll move on to Planning Commission, and then from Planning Commission to BOMA.
All right, thank you. I do like the way, I will say this, just as an alderman, the way they've done their streets out there, I like that. And they've met all the guideline or the criteria for a street in the street acceptance guidelines.
That's correct.
All right, this is in Ward 6, I believe. Alderman Roberson, do you have any questions or comments or just?
I do. Marshall, does this include Ashington Circle? Can you look on the list? Does it include Ashington
It does.
Circle?
There's a portion of that is included on this map. Section 5.
Yeah, I would request that staff look again at the intersection of Ashington Circle and Smoke Rise. There is a really low spot at that intersection that is constantly full of water. So I don't think that the road is properly drained there. Is that part of this?
No, sir. This portion is the southern part of Ashington Circle. The part where it connects to Smoke Rise is a different section.
Has that already been approved?
No, but we'll make sure we look at that, and if there's any problems, we'll get that addressed.
Yeah, I don't want us to approve it and then we get bombarded with some citizen complaints, and the city has to spend the money to fix the drain when the developer should fix it. So with that question, that's all the questions I have.
All righty, thank you. Is any other further discussion on street acceptance? Okay, I need a motion.
I move approval.
Okay, there's been a motion of approval
Second.
and a proper second. There's no discussion. I just want to make sure for both of the aldermen in Ward 6, both for Alderman Roberson and Alderman Waters on this issue, that it does not include Ashington or Smoke Rise, I think it is. So I'm going to make sure that is correct, and it is. So all in favor of approval signify by saying aye when I call the roll. Alderman Roberson.
Aye.
Alderman Peterson.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye itself. So those sections are approved, excluding Smoke Rise and Ashington, which we don't think that it's even on this section of approval this evening. All right, item 4 is, which we do have another street light, Drake's Point Street Lights. They have requested our approval of this and also to be added to the city account. Marshall, you wanted to talk about this?
Yes, we received a formal request from the neighborhood at Drake's Point to accept the street lights, and staff, Sarah specifically, has gone out and reviewed this and found it to be in compliance with our policy. Let's see. Well, I'm sorry. Let me just read it from what I have in the agenda. The city has received a request to accept the street lights in the Drake's Point subdivision and add them to the city account. Drake's Point was annexed into the city of Hendersonville from the county. Drake's Point has existing decorative street lights that are marginally in excess of the city's lighting policy, and you can see the map below for the locations. The current policy provides for street lights at cul-de-sacs, intersections, and at hazardous conditions to improve safety. And Sarah is more than happy to. I think we found it to be in compliance with our policy.
Okay.
Sarah is more than welcome to add to that or correct me if I've misspoken.
All right. Thank you, Marshall. How about it, Sarah? Anything on that?
No, I mean, he said it. They are slightly, as you can see on the map, they are in excess of the cul-de-sac and the intersection. There aren't really many hazardous conditions out there, but we do have this with some of our other subdivisions where they go through street acceptance, and we did annex it this way from the county. And they're requesting that we pay the electricity. So I would recommend that we take the lights over. That would be the most equitable way to handle it, I believe, in compliance with the policy and the way that we treat other subdivisions.
Right.
But
And as for Alderman Roberson, I do want to say this is a little bit different than the one we just had a few moments ago. With this, I know if you do get a call on it, it's a lot different.
Yes, I agree. And I also got the copy of the letter from the HOA, Mr. Roger Franklin. And
Right.
the good thing about this is that the subdivision has invested and the lights there are LED lights. So that it will be a very small increase in the total budget. So that's a good thing. And I urge, with the staff approval, I urge that the committee approve this request so that I can notify the HOA.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from anyone?
Mr. Chairman, I've got a question for Sarah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Sarah, are these new lights or existing lights?
they're existing.
Okay, so it's unlike Glen Oak request where they wanted a new light. These here
sir.
at Drake's Point are already in existence.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, that was my only question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other further discussion on this?
Hey, Mr. Chairman, can I mention something?
Yes, sir. By all means, go ahead, Mayor.
And this is something I'll be willing to bring up when it comes to the board. Drake's Point subdivision, as y'all know, is the northern reaches of the city. And their subdivision comes out onto Drake's Creek Road at an intersection that's somewhat treacherous and not well maintained by the county. I get a lot of complaints from folks that feel like they do not get city services to the extent for the property tax they pay. So I think taking over their streetlights and paying the electricity, since it's just marginally different than what we've done in other situations,
Yes, sir.
would be appropriate and show that we are interested in providing adequate services to them.
Thank you. I agree with that. I appreciate those comments. Any further discussion on the motion? Oh, excuse me. I do need a motion. I need a motion.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
And there's been a motion, proper motion, and a proper second. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor of approving the Drake's Point streetlights, and this is I guess the most critical thing, and adding them to our account with is it NES, I think?
Cumberland Electric.
Cumberland Electric. Okay. Cumberland Electric, signify by saying aye Alderman Roberson
I vote aye.
and Alderman Peterson.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well. It passes unanimously. So where does this go now? Does this go to obviously it goes to the board, I guess, or to planning.
I don't know if there's any further action needed. Staff will
Yeah.
carry out the actions of the board or the actions of the committee and move forward with working out with the HOA to pay.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're on to the
Mr. Chairman,
traffic and parking agenda.
can I ask one quick question?
Hold on just a second, Marshall. Yes, sir, Alderman Peterson.
I just want to go back quickly to Glen Oak subdivision.
Yes, sir.
Was the homeowner made aware that they could privately buy a street light?
Sarah, do you know if you made contact with the homeowner?
Yes, I did. I did leave a message. I didn't speak with them directly, but I left a message and let them know that, until I gave them my number to call me if they had any additional questions.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that they were aware that they had an option.
Yes, the only complication to that may be, now I did not know their exact address, the resident that made the request. If there is an above ground pole that's not in their yard, they would need to coordinate with another resident, which may make that more challenging.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both, Sarah and Alderman Peterson. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna give the floor back to Marshall about the parking and traffic. Go ahead, Marshall.
Yeah, in your packet, you'll find the Traffic and Parking Committee agenda from the most recent meeting on the March 30th. And it is really just provided for your information. If you had any questions about that or anything on the agenda you'd like to discuss further, we could certainly do so at this time. And Sarah, if there's anything specific we need to mention, feel free to do so.
The mayor has contacted me and asked me to hold off on item number 4 in that agenda, which was removing the multi-way stop in Windcrest. We had a request to increase enforcement for the 4-way stop. And so we had the on-call traffic engineer go ahead and just do the warrant study for a multi-way stop. Because typically if they are not, if they require enforcement, typically they're not warranted, which can create hazardous situations, et cetera. So they completed that and found that the volumes did not support a multi-way stop there. But I believe the mayor and myself will be having a meeting on Thursday to review that further. So.
I appreciate that.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion on traffic and safety? Sarah, when do you all meet again? I'm just curious.
Typically, it would be the last Friday of the month, but I am actually out of town currently, so I'm going to reschedule.
Oh my gosh, you're out of town?
Yes, sir.
Where are you, on Old Hickory Lake or something?
Did you notice her background?
Yeah.
You may recognize where she's at based on the background. So.
Yeah, I'm in a cabin in Gatlinburg.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I bet it's beautiful up there.
It is gorgeous. Yeah, it's been really nice. The weather's perfect.
When you coming home?
I'll be coming home tomorrow. I'll be in the office on Thursday, but I'm going to postpone Friday's meeting. So possibly the following week.
All right. Thank you. All right. Well, I hope you've had a hell of a time up in Gatlinburg, man.
It's been really good.
I think we're all jealous on that one.
And Mr. Chairman, for the record, let us say that at Miss Locke's home, she has 2 Doberman pinchers running in the house, just so if anybody's watching this.
Oh, well, I think the Dobermans are probably saying, why don't you take another day? They're having
That's
party
funny.
time over there.
We've got a house sitter with our pit bull, so.
Well, I'm not going to break in. Did you get that, Paul? I'm not breaking in. I'm not breaking in. All right. Okay, let's go on to the next one. That's great. Resolution 2021, it's amending the job classification and the pay table for the Parks Department. Is Andy here?
Yes, sir.
Well, hello there. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. Okay. Who do I need to speak with on this one, Marshall? Do Andy?
I can speak to it if you'd like me to.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This went to the general committee 2 weeks ago, scheduled to be on BOMA tonight.
Right.
We have a job in our department that has been open for 3 years. That we've been undergoing kind of a reorganization and restructuring. And this is kind of the final step with our maintenance department to get this job in line with the description, including actually all the tasks that it does and getting it up to the pay grade it needs to be. We followed all the processes, submitted to the pay consultant and through HR, and met with Mr. Harvesmeyer on this. And I think everyone was in agreement this was proper. There is not currently an employee in this job, so this is not spending any money. I have
Right.
asked in my budget request, I have asked for this job to be funded, but not to add a body to our staff. It would be one we would open up and try to promote from within. So that's kind of where we are. If anybody has any questions, I can take them.
All right. Does anyone from the committee
Yes,
have
I
any
have,
questions?
I have some questions, please.
Is Chris here, by the way? Chris Taylor, maybe? There he is. Hey. All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, you might, I don't know if you will, you may or may not have some questions, but go ahead to Andy, and our chair recognizes Alderman Roberson. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Skidmore.
Yes, sir.
So Andy, is this position, it's currently vacant?
Yes, sir. It has not been funded for the last 2 years.
Was it ever funded?
It was, yes. We had a parks maintenance supervisor for over 25 years. And then when that person left the last time, we opened up the job. No one from within the department applied. We had a couple of applicants from the outside, but the overall consensus is the job at that time was way bigger than what it was being compensated for. And I 100% agree with that.
So tell me kind of an overview of the duties and responsibilities of this higher classified job.
This person would be the head person of all our maintenance staff at the park. They would have 2 assistant supervisors reporting directly to them. They would be supervising a crew of 13 full-time maintenance employees and 10 part-time. They also are responsible for doing stormwater checkups every month. They're responsible for OSHA. They're responsible for HR trainings. They serve on the safety committee. They serve on the insurance committee. This person will report directly to me. As right now, we have 2 assistant supervisors who are reporting directly to me.
So stormwater, I wasn't aware that the parks had any responsibility over stormwater. I thought that was under Public Works.
I wasn't aware of that either until about a month ago. We got an email saying that we needed to watch a video and do monthly reports on different areas.
So is that stormwater in the parks?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Okay. So right now you have 2 assistant supervisors that report to you. So in the future, this one will report. And how does this new position rank with your assistant directors that you have? What are the class, what's it called? The pay scale or the classification rating of your assistant directors and of this position?
I believe they would all be the same grade. I believe it's grade 20 that we're requesting this job, and that's what the pay consultant recommended. Actually, we didn't request. The pay consultant said this is what it needs to be. And the title comes from the fact that there was already a job in this category called Public Works Superintendent. That's why we are changing the name to Parks Maintenance Superintendent to be consistent with other departments.
Okay, but this supervisor will not report to one of your assistant directors, but it will report directly to you?
That is correct.
Okay. Chris, a couple questions for you. Thank you, Director Gilly.
Yes, sir.
Is it common for job classifications to have the same rating of I would think an assistant director would be a higher rating than a maintenance supervisor. So is that a common thing where a supervisor has the same pay scale as an assistant director?
I'm not aware. I don't know if I would be comfortable answering that just off the cuff from the standpoint of the way that the department may be set up potentially. But in terms of consistency across our city, I don't know if I can answer that confidently saying it was common or not, if that
But
makes
that's
sense.
not a problem in your view.
No, sir. I mean, this has everything to do with the scope of work and the responsibilities and the duties. When you start comparing jobs to different jobs, that's where it starts to get a little dicey within the department, and then comparing them across the board to other departments, because not all departments are obviously set up the same. If that makes sense, I think a good comparison would be the new battalion chiefs versus the police commanders. We didn't have battalion chiefs for a long time. So it's hard to compare things laterally, if that makes sense. If I'm understanding your question exactly.
And Director Gilly, you say that you're not intending to hire a new person for this. So your intention is hopefully to promote from within. What if no one is qualified or no one applies?
Then we will not hire the position. And then we'll go on as we are, as we've been doing for the last 2 years. And I will wait until next budget year and request the ability to fund a new person to go outside to hire.
Okay. All right. I want to make a general statement. One of the first things that I did when I was elected was we had a request from the Parks Department to hire a second assistant director, and I think that was Dallas. And I always, coming up through the ranks of the staff in my own career, I always give a great amount of deference or deference to department directors when they say they need employees or they need a reclassification. I was happy to support the Parks Department in adding a second assistant director at that time, and at the pay scale that was recommended. About a year later, Public Works, and I haven't discussed this with anyone in the staff. This is my own observation that I want to make. About a year later, Public Works came and said they wanted to do a reorganization, have two assistant directors within the Public Works Department. That would be Mrs. Locke and Trace Burkett. And this committee approved unanimously, as we did with the Parks Committee, the promotion of the reorganization and the promotion of both Miss Locke and Trace Burkett at the time. Now we have another request from the Parks Department for a personnel action. I intend to support that, but I just, from this, I guess, 10,000 mile seat, it appears to me, Chris, that we're not cooperating with Public Works Department. And again, I've not talked to Marshall about this. I've not talked to anybody about this, but I hope you can see my concern is that we approved Public Works adding assistant. We approved Parks adding an assistant director. Now we're getting ready, I assume, to approve a supervisor. But it's my understanding that in Public Works that we still have not taken action on what this committee approved to promote Mr. Burkett and Ms. Locke as assistant directors in that. So as a legislator with oversight responsibility of the staff, I hope, Chris, that you will pay as much attention to the needs of all of our departments, and especially Public Works, because we are putting a tremendous amount of work on the Public Works Department with street paving, with stormwater, with capital projects, with all these. And I want to make sure, and I haven't talked to Marshall about this, but I want to make sure if there are vacancies in Public Works Department, that we work with that department and get them what they need so that they can accomplish the work that we have set out for them. So that's just an observation, Mr. Chairman, that I wanted to make, and I hope, Chris, you'll take that to heart. I'm not trying to criticize anybody, but from this point, I just don't see, I don't see the same level of agreement and working with Public Works as I do some other departments. And with that said, I'm sure Chris will want to defend himself, but I just wanted to say that.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Roberson. Chris, you want to?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm pretty disappointed that it's suggested that I'm not working with the Public Works Department, and I hope Marshall has an opportunity to hop back on. I just saw his screen go dark because I may have to have him and Mr. Harbsmeyer kind of back me on this as to how we got all the way here as of today. I'm not going to revisit the entire story. Mr. Harbsmeyer approached me about 3 weeks ago and said that he has been working to try to capture some additional information from Mr. Boyd. I was not part of that conversation. However, I trusted that Paul and Marshall were working collectively to gather some more information about the Assistant Public Works Director Roads Superintendent position, because it's not about the employee in it, it's about the position. About 3 weeks ago, Mr. Harbsmeyer forwarded me some information and said that he had asked Marshall to get with me to review some additional information that he had captured. Marshall, a couple weeks ago, you sent me some stuff about this position that was substantially different than what was sent to me 6 to 8 months ago. It was actually a much stronger version. I don't think that's out there for me to say that it was substantially different. I kicked it back to Marshall and said, hey, this is substantially different. Do you have an opportunity to kind of insert some of these in the job in the job description? Because the information that was sent was clearly different than the job description that was sent to me 8 months ago. So Marshall, as of late last week, sent the final version of everything to me. And as of this morning, I sent everything to the pay consultant, asking him to review it additionally, considering there was much more stronger, more substantial information in this new job analysis, basically. Again, I'm disappointed that it's suggested that I'm not working with a particular department. I think Marshall, I'm hopeful he would go to bat for me. We're working through some employment issues as well that my department and myself have been over backwards to help with. And at that point, I'm going to hit my mute button, but I'm hopeful that Marshall and Paul can kind of back me up on how we got to this point and what's transpired over the last 3 weeks or so. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for elaborating and letting us know the process. Maybe it should be us as leaders of the community and the public works. Maybe we should have our own, discussion with you or something like that. But does anybody else, Marshall or Paul, do you all want to respond? I'm certainly you don't have to, but if you do, that's cool with us.
The mayor has his hand up.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm sorry, Mayor. Yes, sir.
Hey, Chairman Skidmore. I very much agree with some of the items that have been mentioned, especially that the Public Works Committee has oversight and can help out in these situations. I think sometimes in the past, with some changes at the helm of City Hall, that there's some items that could have been handled differently, and I think some staff could have been more proactive. But in situations like this, where we see that one department request moves faster, one department moves slower, it's worth asking questions why.
Thank you very much. And that's a very excellent statement, Mayor, because that's pretty much as I heard it this evening. I think that's what Eddie was kind of saying, but in a different way. But I appreciate that because I think that's the way this whole committee feels. There's no casting of blame anywhere. We just want to know what. I mean, as of tonight when we were discussing it, I was like, oh yeah, I thought that was already done or everything, and now I find out that it's still in the process. But you all kind of told, I think, Eddie and Lee and myself. And everybody else that didn't know, what was going on, where we are in the process. Marshall, did you have anything to say?
Yes, I did want to mention, as Chris had stated earlier, we're excited about the opportunity to advance Trace in his position and the reclassification. And he did send an email very recently regarding that. And we're hopeful that will move forward soon, and we'll get that taken care of. So I thank him and the HR department for making it happen.
All right, thank you, Marshall.
The only thing I'll add is just for the record, I think there was a difference of I guess, of the Ts getting crossed and the Is getting dotted and have everything lined up. So I was asked to look into that, and we have moved that forward. And so I think we're making progress on that now. So I'll leave it at that, but it's in the right direction at this point, and we are making significant progress to
Good.
make that that review possible and appropriate under both the decision of the board and the rules that we have to go by. So I think we're on the right track and we're making progress moving forward. So I appreciate that and everyone's comments.
All right. That sounds good. Lee, did you have anything or Alderman Peterson, did you have anything to say or anything? I don't know if there's much to say, but there may be now.
Well, while we're on the topic of Trace, I would just like to give a shout out to him being nominated Employee of the Year for the city.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I think that's outstanding achievement for him. And I saw him Saturday at the VFW and congratulated him. And, you know, I love to see employees get the recognition that they deserve. And that being said, I have no more comments. Thank you.
Chairman Skidmore, before we finish the meeting, I do want to make a comment about something on another topic, but that's just to give you a heads up.
And I do too. So if there's no other discussion with this, so what do we do with this? Do you want to, I guess we need a motion to approve.
I move approval.
All right.
Second.
Thank you very much. There's been a proper motion and a proper second. Before we do say this, I just want to say, Mr. Taylor, this really didn't, I want you to understand this didn't have anything to really do. I don't want you to be offended by what our aldermen were saying. It's just, we're just kind of, I think on behalf of Public Works Committee as chairman of it, we're very sensitive, this committee is, to our employees, and that, you know, include obviously our Public Works Committee, our Public Works employees are very near and dear to our hearts. So when we feel that there's something going on, they're going to raise an issue. So I don't want you to take offense to it, and I hope you don't. I do want to let you know that. Is there any further discussion on the resolution that we've properly made a motion and second? Hearing none, is everybody ready to vote? All in favor of resolution 2021-21, signify by saying aye when I call your name. Alderman Roberson?
Aye.
Alderman Peterson?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye as well. Congratulations, Andy. It passed the committee. So
Thank you for your support.
yes, sir. So what do we do now? Andy, are we going to vote on this at the board?
Yes, sir. It already has been to general and it'll be on Bowman tonight. Okay.
I just want to make sure that was the proper process. Thank you, Andy, and I'll see you tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay, now the next thing on, and then we've got about 15 minutes left, so we're doing really good on time. Let's talk about the abandoning of Dwight Sherlin Road. Marshall?
Yeah, so there's an ordinance before you that is an abandonment of unused public right-of-way known as Dwight Sherlin Court. And that is the road off of Stop 30. If you know where the water tower is, off of Saundersville, it's essentially right across the street. We've confirmed, planning staff has confirmed that it is not a county road, and we don't have any records that is it a city road either, but we're going to go through the process to formally abandon that, just to make sure all the I's are dotted and T's crossed. So that's why we brought it before you tonight.
All right, thank you. Any discussion on it from any of the committee members?
Is that at the request of the resident or the property owner, Marshall?
Yeah. So there is one property owner that has now acquired all that property surrounding Dwight Sherlin Court, and they have requested. We had a conversation a few days ago, and they have requested that we, you go through this process to abandon that right of way.
So they know, okay, that's all.
All right, thank you. Alderman Peterson, do you have any questions on it?
I do. How do you abandon a road? Do we go in there and bulldoze it and just
Yeah.
take it back to flat earth?
We
or-
essentially just give up any right to it, and it turns back over that property as it is now ours. That property turns back over to the adjacent landowners. So essentially, it
It's
just becomes
basically the same way we did when we abandoned a road that we know about. I didn't even know about this road. But it's basically the same way, the way we did. I don't even know if it had a name, but it was down there at the park, trailer park, and that subdivision back there. I think there's been a lawsuit filed that we don't have any. There's nothing to do with us, but we figured it would come sooner or later, and
Right.
it did. But it's basically just abandoning the right of way that, or the road that we had down there, that had been down there for many, many years. So is there any other discussion on this at all?
Well,
Hearing none? Go ahead.
Will the homeowner block that road off so people don't abandon vehicles or dump garbage or things like that someone would have to come in and clean up?
I don't know. I don't know that there's an issue with that now, but that's certainly if there was a problem with that, and we've done something similar on the Dathan Academy property. We've put up a makeshift fence just to prevent illegal dumping. I don't know if that's a problem at this site, but if it becomes one, we'll certainly look at that to make sure it doesn't happen.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good question, Alderman Peterson. Any discussion on this issue? Okay, hearing none. Is everybody ready to vote? Okay, a motion proper. All in favor of abandoning Dwight Sherlin Road, signify by saying aye when I call your name. Eddie Roberson,
Aye.
Alderman Lee Peterson,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye as well. It passes unanimously. And Marshall just sent it to, I guess, does it go to planning?
It'll go to planning, and they will do the proper public notice. And once the public notice is finished, they'll go to planning commission, and then from planning commission to vote.
All right, fair enough. All right, now we have Mayor Cleary.
Thank you.
Did you want to speak to us?
Yeah, I just want to give you a heads up that, well, y'all know this part is that the ordinance to amend our budget to add $500,000 to supplemental paving for the current fiscal year, that is coming up for second reading tonight. I am going to attempt to amend that, possibly as high as $1.5 million. And I feel like some comments that were made 2 weeks ago, that some aldermen are willing to support that, and also the comments from our representative from Rogers Group feels that he can accommodate at least up to $1 million. So we'll see how high we can get it.
Thank you very much. That is indeed exciting news for Public Works. I hope that it passes. I know all the committee members, including myself and everybody in Public Works, like to street paving, and it's good to let the people of Hendersonville know that we're doing the best that we can to get everyone involved in the process of not only citizenry and where they live, but also the aldermen. And I hope that they're pleased. And thank you, Mayor, for bringing us a little bit. That's really good news, actually. Does anybody have a comment or anything on this?
Just
All right, we look forward to doing that. Yes, sir.
just
Paul.
a quick point. Did you get item 8?
Oh,
Which one was
Trash
that? I'm
collection
looking at the
update.
agenda now.
There's a refuse chart in the back of the agenda. I just included for your information. If anyone had any questions,
Oh, the trash up. Yes. I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on the update? Marshall, do you need to speak on that?
One thing I wanted to point out, and I kind of said this in my email, we had a couple of days where there was a new driver that was just unfamiliar with a couple of the routes. And there were a few streets that were missed. It was rectified immediately. The driver was changed. The streets were picked up immediately the next day. But that is the reason why the numbers are a little bit higher on those days.
Yeah, because it was a new driver who didn't really know
right
the way the city does, but they went back and picked it up. They called me and told me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, Paul, for letting us bring that to my attention.
No problem.
Beyond those couple of days where we had those abnormally high numbers, the overall the calls are down. Service is very good, and they continue to meet our expectations.
All righty. All right. I'm going to hold off. I will say this. I'm going to hold off on this next one. I may hold off on it completely, but I want to bring this not for a vote or anything tonight. I wanted to talk about the red light at Centerpoint Road. I think we need to revisit that as a whole. I don't want any discussion on it because, quite frankly, I'm in the thought process of it, and it may not come up again. I don't know. But I think there may be a possibility that I want to revisit that issue along with some other issues that are coming up. This committee passed on, and it did pass our committee along to capital projects. But I just wanted to let you all know to kind of be thinking about that red light, the cost factor. But I don't want to talk about it now. I'm just going to wait. May not even speak to it. I may not even speak to it after tonight's meeting. I don't know, but I can assure you, we may have to revisit it, or just at least discuss it. So I just wanted to kind of put that to the heads of everybody. And at this point, that's all I've got to say about it. We'll just see what happens in the couple of meetings. Give me time to think about it. Anyway, any further discussion for Public Works?
I do see Alderman Shirley with the hand up.
Yes, ma'am.
Commander Hopsmeyer. Mark, I just wanted to bring to your attention that at our last public safety meeting 2 weeks ago, we brought up some concerns about the intersection of Imperial and Gallatin Road, because we are on track to have more accidents there than last year. And we've had some doozy ones with cars tipping over, multi-vehicle accidents. And I didn't know if the light synchronization needed to be looked at there or timing. So I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention to maybe add to an agenda at another time.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Alderman Petrelli, for bringing that up. Yes, ma'am. That's why I don't know if you were here yet, or if you might have been busy and just didn't make it home because of traffic. I don't know. But that's why I asked Sarah when the next traffic and safety committee, because I do want to talk about that area right there. As most of you all know, and I don't, the only thing I can say about that at this point is about every year or every other year, I bring that up to see about a red light there. And so I need, I'm going to probably do, when all that traffic, when they were laying down the construction that was horrendous there, I really noticed it, how much traffic has increased there. But it's increased every year. I guarantee if you put a traffic counter there, they're going to tell you that it's increased every single year. So, but thanks for bringing that, Peg. But I'm going to bring it back up. They're not meeting this week. Isn't that right, Sarah? Y'all are not meeting this week, but it'll be in the following week. Is that correct?
I haven't rescheduled it yet, but possibly this
Okay,
coming
just when
week
you
if I can.
schedule it, we'll put that
Mhm.
there. But thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you.
Just make sure I understand. You're referring to the intersection at Main Street, Imperial, and Rockland, that entire area? Is that?
No,
Main,
it's the
Main-
where,
Main Street and Imperial at the Bank of America. There's been some significant accidents there. Main Street at Rockland Road, where the new construction has gone in. Those roads there, the paving is not appropriate for new construction. I think, those are some of my concerns, but I would look at that asphalt too. But the concern is Imperial and Main Street, and Assistant Police Chief Jones has the accident statistics for that. And you can just track that. Hopefully we won't, but right now we're almost getting ahead of schedule on accidents there. And there's just been some highly unusual accidents with cars overturned.
Yeah.
And it could just be excessive speeding, distracted driver, but we brought it to safety last month and just wanted to make y'all aware. So thank you so much.
you're very welcome. Yeah, and I don't know, I've seen a lot of wrecks there lately, and I don't know whether if it's the sun that's hitting the people that are coming away from the city, but just look at the red light and the position that it is in relation to the sun, but it's also at night. Now, I will tell you that there's been several wrecks there at night too. So take a look at that when you talk to Jim about that. All right. All right. Any other further discussion? Anybody? Okay. Well, we finished 2 minutes early, so we're in good shape. So I just need a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
And Lise, did you hear that? Okay, he just said second. I read his lips. All right, there's been a proper motion and a second. All in favor say aye when I call your name. Alderman Roberson and Alderman Peterson.
You're at mute. You're at mute, Lee.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I apologize. I've been muted, but I've heard everything. So,
That's okay.
yes, I move to adjourn. I second, and
Okay,
I say,
and he
aye.
says aye. So,
Thank you.
and Alderman Peterson says aye, and the chair votes aye as well. So we'll adjourn this meeting, and we'll see you guys. I noticed, Elizabeth, did you have anything? I know we're just about adjourned. Did you have anything? No?
No, I'm sorry. I got the meeting invite for 6 o'clock for the finance.
Oh, okay. It's coming. They're coming right at you.
Elizabeth, it's going to kick us out for a second. We'll have to log right back in.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, the meeting's been adjourned. We'll see you guys at